and welcome back to another episode of Born to Talk About Sports. I am your host, Steve Bourne. Um, so I tried recording this earlier, and somehow I accidentally deleted the first video, so this is going to be take two. Thank you for all the feedback on Steve's Peeves episode 1. Steve's Peeves episode 2 is going to be part of this video, but it is time to get Cup crazy. Stanley Cup playoffs are about to start. I'm going to start in the West. I'm going to start with the number 1 seed, Vegas Golden Knights, facing off against the number 8 seed, the Winnipeg Jets. Jets played well down the stretch, led by goalie Connor Hellebuck, who basically reminded us a little bit of who the heck he is. That being said, Vegas was a bit of a steamroll in the West for a good part of the year. No reason to not think they won't do it to the Jets in the first round this year. So I think Hellebuck's good enough to steal 1, 2 at the most, but I'm gonna say Vegas in 5. The number 2 seed, Colorado Avalanche, against the number 7 seed, Seattle Kraken, second year in the league, led by Jordan Eberle and rookie of the year favorite Matt Beniers. And then also resurgent Marty Jones in Seattle as well. Colorado's dealing with some injuries. Seattle's playing with house money. That being said, I'm going to take Colorado in 5. Just playoff experience alone. Jordan Eberle has a little bit with the Islanders. Marty Jones a little bit when he was with San Jose. But it's the defending Cup champs. You got to pick them. Also in the West, you've got basically Dallas, Minnesota. The current home of the Stars versus the former home of the Stars. Minnesota has surprised a lot of people. People thought their cap situation, they wouldn't even make it to the playoffs. Dallas, led by star goalie Jake Ottinger, who's probably got some Vezina, will get some Vezina consideration. This is going to be a close one. I'm going to say Dallas in 7, but don't be surprised if, say, Dallas wins it in 6. But I'm going to give Minnesota credit, and I'm going to take it to 7. And then also the other series in the West, rematch of last year. Again, rematch last year involving a Canadian team. You're going to have that in the East as well. With, excuse me, you've got the probably the most high-power offense we've seen in the NHL since the 80s. Again, Edmonton Oilers, led by slam dunk Hart Trophy favorite Connor McDavid, and versus the LA Kings, a team that just won't go away, keeps on fighting, keeps on plucking away. They resemble the team captain, Drew Doughty. So last year when these two teams met, Edmonton was the heavy favorite, underperformed, and LA took it to 7. Edmonton this year is a lot better. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is up there for should be, if the NHL had a most improved player award, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins goes from 65 points to I think finished about 101, 102 points. McDavid this year, 64 goals, 153 points. They got 2 50-goal scorers on the team, 4 100-point guys, or 3 100-point guys. The only difference, really, the only thing that I think can make this a bit of a series is Edmonton's goaltending. I'm sorry, I'm not a big believer in Skinner. He played well down the stretch, but playoffs are a whole new hockey game. So, but I am going to take the Oilers, but it's going to go 6. 7. I could see it going 7 just because that's LA's style to grind it out. But I'm going to say Oilers in 6. That offense is just too scary. In the East, you've got probably could be the ugliest series, and that's the Bruins and the Panthers. Bruins have steamrolled everybody all year. They won the President's Trophy with over 2 weeks to go. I think the closest the number 2 seed in the East got with them was like 10 points after the first month of the year. So the Panthers are a scrappy team. They can play ugly. They can do some questionable things, especially Matthew Tkachuk. That being said, it's the Bruins. Like I said, they've steamrolled everybody this year. No different. I'm going to say Bruins in 5. But maybe Bobrovsky can steal more than 1 game, but I'm going to say Bruins in 5. And then you've got your other division winner, Carolina, versus the New York Islanders. this is going to be a series that only probably, unless you're a fan of either one of those teams, it's probably going to be a series that on paper you're just like, just wait for the winner. But this series is going 7. Islanders have a Vezina nominee in Ilya Sorokin. They've got Matthew Barzal. They've got Bo Horvat. The Islanders are a team that doesn't go away, and they're relentless as well. I'm still taking Carolina in 7 just because I think the talent is much better, especially on defense. But yeah, this series is going 7. You got your rain, and then you got Rangers Devils. I mean, the travel time is what, like 10 minutes from New York to Manhattan. So these two teams know each other quite well. They've got a good playoff history, especially in the Messier era for the Rangers. Being said, Rangers ton of playoff experience, Devils next to none. I think playoff experience wins out. I'm going to say Rangers in 5, maybe 6 at the most. And then you've got your main event, Toronto Tampa. If you just go by the regular season alone, take out Tampa's 3 straight Cup final runs and Toronto's second round drought that can now legally vote. If you take that out, on paper, just going by this year, Toronto should win this in 5. Toronto had about a 12-point difference, which is amongst the 2-3, the biggest point gaps of the 4 2-3 series. But again, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. I still think the Leafs are the better team. They proved it regular season. They faced them 3 times, including sending out their B squad and still beat Tampa's A squad. I'm going to say Leafs in 6. If it goes 7, you'll see another choke job. So yeah, that's my first round pick. And time for Steve's Peeves Volume 2 is when teams don't know when to cut bait with a player. You can start with last year, and they didn't do it in the offseason with the Yankees with Aaron Hicks. I mean, I honestly don't care about the money situation. When a player is getting booed relentlessly in his home ballpark, not putting up numbers, you have to learn when to cut bait, when to release, designate for assignment, put on waivers, what have you. I hate using the word cancer to the team, but they can be because they're a massive distraction. I don't care if he's a nice guy or not. Nice guys finish last. Yeah, hell, if the Yankees had a left fielder that was worth a damn, they might have actually taken a game from the Astros in the ALCS. But and then also, when do the Jays finally make a decision, or are they just with Bo Bichette at shortstop? The guy committed 3 errors in the first 9 games of the year. He's committed 49 errors since the 2021 season, 13 more than the next closest player in baseball. Statistically, he's the worst defender in Major League Baseball. And yet you still put him at shortstop, and he's making throws to first, at least the last week, that Vladimir Guerrero is earning cementing his gold glove for this year already, trying to bail Bo out. Jays might have to, they should finally decide if Merrifield is going to not re-sign, start testing Bo a few games at second base. Shorter throws might be better for him. With Jays with Yusei Kikuchi last year, if they didn't sign him to that massive contract, I guarantee you he probably would have been designated for assignment. Instead, they probably put him on the IL, came back, was still terrible, threw him in the bullpen, was decent but nothing special, and basically he was in low leverage situations for the last month of the year, and it handicapped the team because they didn't have a 5th starter. Bullpen got exhausted, and next thing you know, you blow an 8-1 lead. So it drives me mad when teams just don't know when to cut bait because if it's a money situation, or like in a cap league in the NHL, it's really tough. If a player is making a certain amount of money that you can't afford to send them down because or release them. But in Major League Baseball, when it's a soft cap, you got to learn when to cut bait with certain players. Like I've been saying for the last year and a half, Kevin Biggio's got no place on a World Series roster. I don't guys like him. He can play multiple positions, but guys like that are a dime a dozen. You can get anybody who can play first base, right field, and second base. So that's why I think about that situation. And it's just infuriating to see when teams hold on to players just because either they're trying to prove a point, saying no, this guy's going to be good, just watch, and we've been watching, and it's an epic failure. Um, so it'll be interesting to see if the Blue Jays, if Bo Bichette continues his error-filled ways at shortstop, if the Jays actually do decide to cut bait and try him out at second. I mean, you can't get rid of that bat. He's one of the he's one of the best in baseball at the plate, and he still use. It's funny at the game yesterday they were saying that he's actually worn the paint off of his bat already, and then the season's about 2.5 weeks long. Excuse me. So yeah, so that's my little rant on basically teams not cutting bait to save face or to save money. And in a hard cap league, I get it. In a soft to luxury tax league, it doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm just a fan sitting at home. What do I know, right? So like this video, subscribe, use the hashtag Born Sports. Like I said, I've got some exciting news to share with you, but that has to wait a week. Until then, stay safe. Enjoy the spring.